Brothers and sisters, we hear in today's gospel this account of Jesus and Peter after Jesus' resurrection. And we can call this the rehabilitation of Peter. Jesus is asking Peter 3 times to restate his love for Jesus after the threefold denial that St. Peter had during his passion. But the interesting thing about the language being used is that when Jesus asks Peter the first 2 times whether he loves him, he uses the Greek verb, do you agape me? Do you love me with selfless love? But Peter replies instead with a lesser verb. He says, Lord, you know that I friend you. Philios. And so the 3rd time, Jesus asked Peter, do you friend me? And Peter says, Lord, you know everything. You know that I friend you. It's interesting to see that by our own strength, we cannot love the Lord with all of our heart, mind, soul, and strength without the grace of God. One of the greatest gifts that we have of Easter that we've been praying for right now is the Holy Spirit to be renewed in us. Because when we receive the infinite love of God, God enables us to live out our call to love God and our neighbor as ourselves. We desperately need the grace of God. We hear in the scholastic tradition a saying often said of St. Thomas Aquinas, but it was well known amongst the scholastic tradition at the time, that grace builds upon nature and perfects it. This is good news for us. Sometimes we hear this, grace builds upon nature, and it leaves us a little hopeless, thinking, well, if my nature isn't all that great, if it's got problems, well then grace can only build on my nature insofar as my nature is perfected. Well, that's not true, because grace not only builds upon how we are already made, but it also perfects us. So this is good news for all of us, because today the Lord is asking us all, do you love me? And he's calling us all to feed and tend his sheep and to follow him, to follow Jesus. And so this means for us at times that we have to check out what's going on with us, to see what is stirring up in us. And sometimes we have to lay that at the feet of Jesus, telling him what's going on with us in our humanity, not being afraid, because the Lord knows exactly what's going on with us anyway, and he doesn't seem to chide us. But the Lord isn't the one with the expectation of perfectionism from us, insofar as we might think. Sometimes we think the Lord is looking for us to already be perfect. He's not. He's looking for his love, his grace in us to perfect us. So that means we are quite welcome by the Lord to come as we are, whether we're upset or angry or sad or happy, glad, joyful, cheerful, whatever's going on with us, to submit that to the Lord and to ask the Lord to be the one to bring about his perfection in us so that we may love him and love our neighbor as he has asked us. And so we ask Jesus, whom we meet today in this Eucharist, specifically to perfect our love.